GG.
That's my friend! And you're found you!
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yes. SoloQ is a great tool to measure yourself against other competitors in a pretty competitive field. And it's called SoloQ because you go in solo. You can do, but it's gonna put you and your partner behind. It's also probably gonna be very frustrating. So we recommend just going in alone. And this video is about a blueprint, how to approach learning the game effectively. That's pretty much it. And I'm gonna explain 9 steps, and I hope it will help you. If you go through all of them, you don't have to follow them one by one, but it's very much laid out for you. So if you do want to improve, following this will definitely speed up the process. You can always try your own strategies and see how it goes, of course. This is just, I'd say it's a list of observation. Okay. And we start off with the number 1. Choose a champion. You have to choose your champion. This game is usually played through the lens of a champion. That is why it's so important to just have one, basically, kinda. It's not about one tricking in that sense. You can play 3 champions, but that you have a main champion, another highly played champion, and one lesser played champion. The same with the second role, pretty much. Then we already get to the second point pretty much, which is choose your main role, right? You have to basically choose the main role of that champion to play the character most effectively. Now you can play it in other roles and make it work as well. But as I said in the beginning, it's just gonna make your journey more difficult and take longer, pretty much. It's not that it's not achievable or not doable. It's just gonna take longer, and it's pretty much a waste of time. Now, for the third step, I suggest you list off all of the potential realms of influence the role can have, basically, so that you understand the limits of your role. For example, AD carries cannot roam top lane level 1 to harass the enemy top laner. Now, I say they can't because they can, but if they do, they will lose the game automatically. They'll fall behind XP, put their top laner behind XP, the enemy AD carry will win, the enemy top laner will win. So it's like a move that is so unbelievably bad that we say basically it's illegal, right? It's too easy to punish, and you automatically fall behind and put your enemies ahead. And understanding it, like, there's more things like this, of course, but understanding the limits of your role is incredibly important. And the same thing with junglers, for example. You don't have teleport as a jungler, so if you're clearing top side and you're just top right now, clearing your camp, you cannot counter gank bot lane. You know, it's just not possible. So that is that. Of course, also the positives. You list off the positives. That's what you want to do, is to really understand the role. Number 4. Now, number 4 is more specific skills. Like, you want to distill the possible skills from the range of influence of the role again, or like look at things like such as last hitting or jungle pathing, these kind of things, right? Warding techniques. That's pretty much it. And then you go a step deeper, trying to understand the role at its very core. That is basically you ignore the patch specific things and the build specific things. What is the role actually doing? Or what do you try to do in that role? On that character, right? What is your role in the game? And it's very important to not get hung up on patch specifics, because you always have to adapt. That's the skill of League, right? You have to adapt. So if you focus on builds or runes or jungle paths that are like super, I don't know, kind of complicated or whatever, it makes no sense. It's gonna be worthless knowledge next patch. And another thing is, if you focus on the core of the role, you're gonna learn these specifics anyways later on, and you can adapt much faster to them. Have some specific paths or some specific items for specific matchups. You're gonna learn that anyways, but learning it from other people is impossible because it's patch specific. So you have to learn the role's core, and then go from there to learn the specifics. And the specifics are the most important part, of course. But you can't start with the specifics, and usually guides on YouTube always start with the specifics, so that's why 99% of all guides are just completely useless. If they tell you to take PTA over something else, it's 135,000% useless knowledge. Any guide you've ever watched on this is completely worthless. It is what it is, okay? Maybe it's like you like to know, you know? Maybe you like to look at it because it's like, oh yeah, finally I know something concrete from someone who's better. But the reality is, these people have no flippin' idea how to teach anything, okay? They learned something in a very specific way. They don't know how to articulate how they did it. And now they share some knowledge that they think maybe helps someone, plus they're getting feedback loops of something that people like to watch. And that's a terrible combination for learning. I mean, it is what it is, you know? If you do that, just stop it. Get some help. Alright. Next point. It's very important. It's very big level. It's build pattern recognition and understand that you do need to build pattern recognition. You need to play a lot of games, okay? And these games need to be focused. You need to build pattern recognition for champion strength, for laning, lane states, objectives. Are they contestable or not? And for ways to close out the game, like team fights, split pushing, should we go for the next objective, etc. Grouping, not grouping, all of these like higher level concepts, right? And of course your champion's strength. I mean all champions' strength basically from the lens of your own character. This will take a lot of games, hundreds of games, thousands of games. That's just what it is. You have to accept it, and the more you focus, the faster it goes. If you focus very well, maybe it only takes 5,000 games. If you don't focus at all, you're gonna sit there and be a bronze 5 billion mastery player. That's just what it is. Even worse if you play something weird off meta, you know, 80 carry Ivern. I'm not saying it's like impossible to climb with it or whatever. I think we've shown that understanding the game is more important than meta, so if you play something off meta you can make it work. It's just that the variance is higher, so you're gonna lose more than you would with a champion that is very strong. Meta-wise, kinda. It's very boiled down version, of course. The meta range is also much wider than people think. They think it's only like the top 3 champions in a tier list, win rate wise, which is completely wrong. Win rates are also very useless, but yeah. We can maybe talk about that another time, you know. Now you're building pattern recognition, and the things that work, that's the next point. The things that work, you want to build muscle memory for executing those patterns mechanically as well. Also very important. And you can also see how this point takes longer if you play a mechanically intense champion. That's why some people suggest easier champions, but I will never do that. I would say play the champion that you like the most, because it's the same as in other aspects of life. If you enjoy it, you'll repeat it anyways, and you will pay attention to it more. So you have to find a character that you like, and then learn that character's mechanics to the best that you can over a lot of games, and build muscle memory for it. That's it. Now, all of these points lead to an increase in the value that you can potentially provide to turn an uncertain game into a game that is in your favor. And that's the entire point. You're not going in try to destroy everybody or whatever, you know. I mean, you can do that if it motivates you, but if you lose track of what you have to do to actually increase the chances of winning, then that's really bad. The fundamental concept of value is something for an entire video, to be honest, but the point is, everything you do in the game increases or decreases your value as a player. If you get a last hit, your value is increased. If you get a camp, your value is increased. If the enemy gets a camp at the same time, your value stays even, basically. I don't know, it's very difficult to understand, but every positive thing you do increases your value, and the average value of the entire, both teams, you know, enemy team has a value, your team has an average value, whoever has a higher value wins every time, okay? That is the good thing. It's an actual 100% win or loss thing, if you think about it, right? Imagine top lane, enemy top lane DCs, and you have a fed, I don't know, what's a fed Samira into 5 squishies still. Like the enemy team has a fed Samira in your 5 squishies. Now, even though they have an AFK, the value of that Samira might be double of a carry of your team and make up for the AFK, so they can still win. Right? That's the value thing. And in a more classical example, if you're 5v5 and the enemy top laner is completely fed, you might have double value to your top laner and split push you to death. And it's more complicated, of course, but in general, you want to think of, how can I increase my value to this team, no matter what happens? And thinking from that point of view, I feel like it's a little bit easier. Maybe if you have a griefer or whatever, you can still think, okay, how can I increase my value? Maybe my value will be enough if I have enough value to carry the game. You know, carrying a game is nothing more than having provided like a lot of value, you know. And it's not coming just from kills. It can come from securing objectives, catching people on side lanes, getting a lot of resources, taking a lot of resources from the enemy, etc. So you have to get into the specifics to learn, of course, but that's pretty much it. And this is the easiest path to getting good. Expect to put years into it, erase whatever past you had with the game, and accept where exactly the SoloQ system just put you this time. And there's no exceptions, you know. You can deviate from this path and outperform in League, but any deviation will make your journey more difficult, which means it will take longer, and you have more room to give up on your goal, ultimately. That's pretty much it. A little update to my SoloQ journey, I would say. Just at the end here. We're doing well. I found a build that I really like, I think. I think what you have to actually do with Briar is builds are a very big part of Briar's damage, Briar's effectiveness, let's say it like that, because you have to do damage and you have to survive. So what you want to do is build something damage-wise and something tanky. Whoa, revelation. But I don't think many Briar players actually do that. I think they copy one build and just follow it, which does not work. It just doesn't work, okay? I do really like Blade into Hydra just because Hydra makes you unbelievably tanky right now. Hydra with the HP increase and then the correct boots. Building correct boots, very big, you know? Boots literally win or lose you the game, I feel like, on Briar. It's really fun to think about builds, which items to buy. This last game I could have won as well, but I made one big mistake in the early game and they just ran away with it. They snowballed so hard from it, I respect it, you know? And in these kind of games where I'm 100% sure that I will win, because the builds that I can go are so OP, I just mess up. Also, our top laner now, our AD carry went AFK, so that's why I only lost LP, but it doesn't even matter. If I didn't make the big mistake, we would have won the game, straight up. So I'll take responsibility for this loss and just move on. We got higher LP now, higher rank than we did last split already, which is super nice as well. And I'll just keep going, yeah. As the update for the SoloQ. Road to Diamond. Back at it again. Pretty fun, pretty fun. I don't want to make the video too long though, so enjoy. Have a nice day. Enjoy.